Hello one and all, and welcome to Behind the Glass, your weekly automotive podcast hosted by two rather uninformed enthusiasts.
No.
I'm Sam from the YouTube channel Seen Through Glass.
I'm Tony from Gravelwood Car Sales.
And you can watch us each week. We hope you enjoy the episode. We have breaking news. Hopefully very exciting news. We are managing to cram one more live event into 2024. It has been a hectic year. It has been a busy year.
Very busy.
We've been flat out.
Is this a last hurrah?
This is basically, it's like a celebration of, because we won't be able to do anything else live before the end of the year.
Well, we'll just run out of time.
We've run out of time. There's too much going on. But we didn't want to wrap up the year without doing some kind of, because we haven't done any live podcast events this year.
It's our swan song.
It's not our swan song. That sounds like we're closing down.
For the year.
For the year. Yeah. It's a way to wrap up 2024 and say thank you all for your support. And we're excited for 2025, which is going to be insane and full of driving tours and live podcasts and some other things that we're going to talk to you about. It's all going to be go.
Kick
off. So this is just like a closing of one chapter before the next one starts. So Sunday, the 10th of November, we're going to Spain.
Are we?
Yeah, because I thought, if we do like a Cars and Coffee meet up in the UK in November, no one will come because we'll be underwater. Yeah, it'll be miserable. So we're going to head to Spain.
In the sun?
I hope so. We can't guarantee it, can we? But you got to think Valencia. Like there's a chance of some sun.
It'll be sunny, mate.
Yeah. We've partnered up with the epic Swiss Quote Bank Europe, who you might remember supported my huge American road trip in the summer in the Boxster. Doing some stuff with them around a big go-karting championship, which is going to be happening in Valencia.
Oh, you got my attention
the day before.
now.
Yeah, so lots more to come on that. But very kindly, they're helping us put on this kind of exclusive final event of the year. So just 150 tickets, which actually I say that's the same amount we do for all our live podcast events.
It's quite a lot, mate.
It's quite a lot of people. Tickets are available now. Come down from 11 till 1. Big gold Cars and Coffee. We're going to do a bit of a live podcast / Q&A, meet and greet. Hope we can have some amazing cafe. And
I'm going to go in on your cars.
I love the way that you offer that as like here's a reason you should attend.
Yeah.
What's a good Spanish sweet treat? Because we would offer like croissants if we were here. What do they have in Spain?
What do they have in Spain?
Not a churro. Could you have a churro?
Can you have them nice custard
tartaletta,
cakes?
That's Portuguese.
Yeah,
anyway, we'll figure out some kind of, let us know if you're Spanish. But you don't have to be Spanish to attend. This is open to everyone. If you're in the UK, road trip down with us because we're going to be road tripping. If you're mainland Europe, drive across. It's a Sunday lunchtime. Hopefully you can get away from your families or your commitments. Come and hang out. We're super excited, just as I say, to celebrate this year, to say thank you. There's going to be some awesome stuff laid on. So if you want to attend, seenthroughglass.online and go to the live events section. Or if you're tech savvy, seenthroughglass.online/events. Grab yourself a ticket now. They do tend to go pretty quickly.
Oh, they're probably gone already.
Well, it's sold out. My mum's bought 50 of them. Huge thanks to Swiss Quote Bank Europe for supporting us and helping us do this all, because it's a big undertaking, setting up a live event in another country. We're a little bit out of our depth, but they're being amazing. It's going to be great.
Mate, been out of our depth all year.
Yeah, I agree. So
pretty much.
So once again, Sunday, 10th of November, we hope to see, well, I was going to say as many of you there as possible, but 150 people.
Yes, please.
We hope to see you there. Tickets are per person, not per car. Yeah. Let's move right up to the top, because we have to discuss the McLaren W1. Oi, oi, oi. Where's my little mouse gone? This launched just after we recorded actually last week's episode. We missed the moment. Sort of expected for a while.
Yeah.
The first official unveiling of the new Holy Trinity.
Yeah, they pulled the trigger first, didn't they?
We're expecting the LaFerrari replacement imminently. I did request the information under embargo. I was ignored.
Well, I don't think they like you much anymore.
No, well, they don't like you is the problem. They really don't like you.
I mean, I bought a lot of cars down here.
They don't care.
They cannot talk to me like that.
They don't trust us.
No.
They think we're a liability, especially you. And so apparently showing anything under embargo doesn't even elicit a response. So we'll just have to wait and see and react to that when it comes out.
Fine.
Porsche, a bit of a weird one. We obviously had the Mission X concept, which was like a nod towards where they might be going. But you know what? I think they were testing the waters. I think that was the design concept for the 918 successor.
Right.
And they thought, let's launch it as an EV concept and gauge opinion. And if people are interested enough, great, it'll be all EV. If they all absolutely, SHIT a brick, then we'll make it hybrid.
I think their choice has already been made. No,
What do you think that is?
the hybrid.
Yeah, I agree, because I think the world went, an EV hypercar.
Well, but, I mean, look at their Taycan.
Yeah, fair.
I mean, they're not silly, Porsche.
No.
Are they?
Yeah, read the room. So
Yeah.
there might be a few more years down the line, I think. I get the feeling.
Do you think?
Yeah, because we haven't seen any sort of, testing shots. There hasn't been any more rumours. We haven't seen a updated Mission X concept.
Nothing
it's all
going around the Nürburgring.
Nothing going around the Nürburgring. There's sort of rumours of their Le Mans car, road version of their Le Mans car, or at least a customer version of their Le Mans car. But nothing really. So I think we're probably 18 months away at least.
So the other two have jumped the gun.
Maybe. Let's see. Or maybe Porsche,
Pull your finger out, Porsche. What are you doing?
But they might surprise us. They might surprise us.
Let's
But
hope they do.
McLaren have gone first with the W1, which I have to say, I think had a very weak reception
I
online.
think it looks mega, mate, that.
I saw you post it saying you think it looks amazing.
Yeah, I think it looks good.
What do you like about it?
Oh, I just think it looks nice.
Just aesthetically, you're just a fan of the design.
Yeah, I just quite like it.
You don't think it's a little safe?
I quite like safe.
I know you do.
Yeah.
But it's not there's not much about it which screams McLaren, I don't think, personally.
I mean, I think it, the first time I see it, I thought, well, that definitely looks like a McLaren. It still looks like
parts?
a McLaren.
What elements?
All of it, mate. Look at the doors and look at the way the wing goes. I mean,
I think the rear quarter, sure.
Yeah, and the door.
But the doors are now gull wing doors.
Are they?
Yep.
But shut. It looks like a McLaren. I mean, definitely looks like a McLaren to me. Maybe if the colour was slightly different as well, maybe that would, take my eye off it a little bit. But I definitely think that looks like a McLaren.
Fair enough. I think it's a departure from their current design language.
Okay.
It is a bit of a mishmash of, you could see a bit of other models in there, the rear of a 765 LT.
It's like a modern P1.
I don't think it does at
Don't
all.
you? I think it does.
I think it looks absolutely nothing like a P1.
Okay.
I think it looks a little bit closer to an F1 than a P1.
Right.
But I think the back looks like, from this angle, the side-on angle, we've got a bit of 765 LT going on. You're right, the doors are a bit Senna-esque, and the front is a bit Sabre. Do you know what the Sabre was? That was a Sabre Limit, or Speedtail.
Speedtail.
So I get where you're coming from, the roof scoop bit, 600 LT.
Yeah.
But
Or 675.
it just, as a car, I think, doesn't merge into McLaren GT, 750S, Artura design language.
Maybe they want it to look slightly different.
I'm sure they do. I'm absolutely
it's
sure
their
they
one
do.
car. It's the
It's the big hitter, and
It's the
maybe
big
this is
hitter.
maybe this is where McLaren design is going to move forward. I just thought it was a tiny bit tame.
All right.
I think it looked a bit AI, like AI generate a hypercar for me. Boom, there you go. But looks are subjective.
No, I like it.
Can't all agree. That's fantastic,
I'm
mate.
going to buy one.
How much do you think it is, Tony?
I know how much it is.
Go on, tell me.
It's 2 million quid.
Plus,
2 million euros plus.
I think it's 2 million quid plus. It's 1 point something with taxes plus.
Oh,
So,
I'm out.
And they've all been sold. 399, all allocated.
Good.
So you're in trouble there, mate. You're
Well
gonna
done.
You're going to be paying overs.
I won't be.
like the Spider RS.
Yeah.
How much do you know about this, apart from how it looks?
Not. I know it's fast.
Yes, yeah.
I mean, it'd
surprisingly.
be stupid if it's not.
Yeah.
I would assume it's the way it drives or the way it gets its power down won't be anything like the P1 because we've moved on from there. I would say that's a computer now, more of a computer.
Mm-hmm.
I do know some numbers, as in impressive numbers. It's 0 to 200 in 5.8 seconds from standstill. I mean, for a rear-wheel drive car, that's impressive.
Mm-hmm. Well, that you've just given away what I think is the most surprising and impressive part is that it's rear-wheel drive.
Yeah, okay.
Because 1,300 horsepower, rear-wheel drive. I mean, that kind of blows my mind. And you're right when you come to it's going to be a computer, because how on earth do you put that power down?
The only thing I will say is that because there's electric motors, right, 'cause it's hybrid, it won't have the spike that the
P1
and the...
Don't forget the P1 was hybrid as well, though.
I know, but tech's moved on, mate.
For sure.
Everything's moved on. I mean, we've got SF90s that do 0 to 200 in the same time as that now. I know it's four-wheel drive, but that's a bloody 350 grand supercar.
Yeah,
so
you would imagine there was sort of torque fill and, you know, a
there
lack
will
of
be
lag. And
way more linear throughout the bands.
But that's still sketchy. I mean, 1,300 horsepower linear to the rear wheels is still terrifying.
Let me have a go.
You're not going to get that F40 or P1, but I mean, it's insane. That blows my mind. But you're right. It's going to be aggressively clever systems on there, kind of keeping you in a straight line because this is a road car.
Yeah.
The other things that blow my mind, the weight. 1399 kilos dry.
Yeah, but
that is astonishing.
They've always been very, very good at that, haven't they? By making. I mean, a lot of that is to do with the tub steel, you know, the carbon tub. But you know, they've always been very good at that. High-powered cars at no weight.
Yeah, I think that's kind of blind mowing. They've got ground effect downforce. It's up to 1,000 kilos of downforce at 170 miles an hour.
Oh, that's a lot.
That's insane.
More than any other road car.
Yeah, suggests that around a track, I mean, mind blowing.
Is it more than the Valkyrie?
The Valkyrie AMR must be not dissimilar, I think.
bet that's not dissimilar, but it's more than the Senna and it's more than the GT3 RS. Sure.
Yeah, 1,000%. Valkyrie AMR AMR Pro downforce.
That's the only one I can think of. That
Over 1,000 kilos of downforce on the AMR Pro.
So similar.
But you know, but this is, you know, way more of a road car. I mean, AMR Pro is track only.
Yeah.
This is way more of a road car anyway.
Thing? What about the AMG one?
That won't be anywhere near.
That won't be anywhere near. Don't think.
I don't think so.
I bet it ain't. I bet it's not far off, mate.
No, because I think. 1,000 kilos of downforce. The fact they're making such a big deal about it is one of their big AMG one. It's called the AMG one.
Yeah. It's got to be up there.
How do you do pounds to kilos? I think it's a lot less. What's pounds to kilograms? 675.
Wow, that's less.
Yeah, way less.
I mean, that's less than a 3RS and a Senna.
Well, there you go.
Wow.
Is that car about its aero?
Well,
I suppose
broke the Nürburgring
I thought it was about the engine.
record by a lot.
Yeah, but that's not always going to be about aero, is it?
Well, some of the fast bits, I mean, it's quite helpful.
No. For sure. But you know how much I hate Nürburgring lap times. I know you're fucking obsessed with the place, but for me, it just means absolutely dog shit. So I just... Anyway, 1,000 kilos.
Fair.
I mean, 174 miles
Unbelievable.
an hour. So unbelievable.
Yeah.
You're right. Some of the 0 to 60 times, some of the 0 to 124 mile an hour times, all of these things are super impressive. Its initial off the line isn't going to be that mind-boggling.
What's 0 to 60? 2.5, 2.7.
Something stupid. It's going to be limited surely because of the rear wheel drive element.
Well, there has to be now. Obviously, these manufacturers take the electric cars out, but they must have hit a wall now at being 0 to 60 at around the 2 second mark.
2.7 seconds is where they're saying.
Yeah, I mean, that's not that impressive. There's supercars that do. I mean, it is impressive. It's ridiculous.
It's tyre limited. It's gravity and
it has to
or
be,
physics
doesn't it?
even. It's tyre limited.
You know,
but that's why now so much focus is shifting to the 0 to 124, 0 to 200 kilometers an hour.
Yeah.
Because you need that secondary phase when you're up and running, basically. And that's where this thing was going to sod off.
Yeah, literally. What's going to be faster than it in a straight line? I don't think it's really about straight line, that car, is it?
No, they say it's about the corners. It tops out 217.
Yeah.
So they say all the big hitter stuff.
It's not a hypercar, although it is a hypercar, but it's not hypercar speed, is it?
No, it's 100% hypercar.
Yeah.
It is not top speed.
Yeah.
But you can imagine there's going to be a W1 GTR or a W1 Longtail or something that's going to come out. But why do they need to go for top speed?
No, I agree.
Who's going more than 217 miles an hour?
Yeah.
And this is where I think personally, this is where McLaren, Ferrari, Porsche, even Bugatti. I mean, Bugatti are a bit different, but this is where they win over Koenigsegg and. Pagani less so, but who are these other companies that go, oh, we got the top speed run? You know, like who?
Hennessy's on the...
You know, okay, well done. It's so impressive. In a closed road situation with a professional driver on a perfect day, you managed to go this insane speed that no normal human is going to be able to replicate.
Yeah.
Whereas the engineering brilliance, the expertise, the everything that a company like McLaren are able to employ so that Billies like you and me can go to Brands Hatch and go outrageously fast, that is where they blow all these other out of the waters, because they just, the others can't do that.
Well, they do. You're quite right. But the prices of these cars now are now like eye-watering. They're more than race car money. And you still, if you got a GT3 car, probably even a Cup car, still faster than one of them around the track. If you're just going to use it, who spends £2 billion and go back around the track in a car? You're joking.
Well, in the same way with LaFerraris, P1s and 918s, yes, there are some people that track them.
Yeah.
But they're road cars.
Exactly.
They're road cars.
Yeah,
Predominantly they're road cars. But, then you're in this forever debate, right? If it's not going to be used on track and it's a road car, why do you need 1,300 horsepower on a road car?
That's been the debate for years. Why aren't these manufacturers making... We've been crying out for years, let's make a really light 400 horsepower car. But they won't, because
they won't do it.
It's all about headline figures. It's all
100%.
1,000 horsepower or 1,200 horsepower with 1,000 kilos of downforce, because that's what sells cars.
This car's electric motors must have nearly as much horsepower as my Stradale. Hold on a sec. Let's see if we can find it. I'm not even joking.
The Golf GTI's got as much horsepower as your Stradale. It's a bit.
Where is it? Hold on a sec. I think it's like 385 horsepower from the electric motor, which suggests, depending on how you're able to use the powertrain, you could just be not even getting into the combustion engine, before. On the road, it's going to be interesting to see how this thing performs. But a P1 is also terrifying on the road.
Yeah.
I don't know. I am impressed by it. Yeah. I am certain that once you get close to it, understand more about it, we haven't even seen sort of technical overviews of it yet. There's going to be so much which blows our mind. The aero capabilities, but it's £2 million. It's sold out. We're at a period of time where when the P1, the LaFerrari, and the 918 came out, they were so different and so forward thinking that
they were,
still to this day they remain.
Mate, they're still fast today.
They're still outrageously fast. And the tech was so ahead of its time, and you were like, what are these?
Yeah.
Where now, that's just another player in the game, isn't it?
Yeah, this is the norm now.
That hasn't moved necessarily anything forward, apart from the fact it's 1,300 horsepower to the rear wheels.
Yeah.
Apart from that, you're like, okay, a lot of this other stuff, okay, cool, no. And the looks are fairly safe. The wing is impressive and crazy, but maybe they had to do that to kind of get something going.
Yeah.
It's cool. I hope to find out a lot more, and it'll be super interesting to see which direction Ferrari go off the back of this, because we're hearing rumors it's not going to be their V12. We're hearing plenty of other rumors as well in terms of powertrains and usability. So where are these going to sit for the next 10 to 12 years?
Let's say something nice about these manufacturers for a change. It's engineering genius, mate. For them to make a car like that, and then they make a bloody 500 horsepower supercar. The breadth and difference in technology and engineering between them two cars. And Ferrari, Porsche the same. Porsche make bloody Macans, and then they go and make this. The engineering difference is bloody genius from that respect.
And to carry across some kind of DNA so that you get out of your Artura into your W1 and it feels like a McLaren.
Yes.
Yeah, it's very, very clever. And it must have been fun for them developing this.
And it's got number plates and you can drive it on the road.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's super cool. No, it's super cool. And I think the one thing which we're not getting through photos is the dimensions. Because they're all studio shot or computer generated.
Looks huge.
Well, that's what I can't work out.
Yeah.
Is how is it going to sit on the road? Because that makes a huge difference. The height of it, the width of it, the sculptures, the lines of it that don't always translate on photo.
It'd be Rev Welto big, that car.
I wonder if it's got the dimensions listed.
Won't be weight, obviously, but I bet it's a big car.
It's like 400 kilos lighter than a Rev Welto.
Absolutely, yeah. But
I hope it's big. I hope it's got presence. Yeah. I'd be disappointed if it was like a little tinny thing. Because the Gordon Murray T50 is tiny. I don't think it's got any presence, the Gordon Murray T50.
Right.
But I know the reasoning behind that, so that it's,
okay,
better on the road. Let's see, McLaren W1 dimensions.
Yeah, but it's very good.
Yeah, 4.6 long, 2.1 wide, 1.1 high. So
mate, it's quite wide.
It's low and wide.
2.1.
Yeah, it's low and wide, which is what I sort of want.
Yeah.
You can see it from some front-on angles. You get the impression it's going to have a lot more presence, but I think on the road it's going to look loads more like spaceshipy than. Like, look at that there.
Yeah.
That looks pretty amazing, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Be honest, when you saw the picture of the Diablo SVR that I drove to Germany last week, what was your like guttural reaction? What was your?
Well, I'm glad I'm not in it.
Okay. Because I just, I put the first post out. I didn't even really tell you anything about the trip before I went.
No.
I put the first post out and I just kind of waited. I sort of grimaced, thinking,
he's coming in.
Yeah, he's coming. And I knew it was early in the morning and you're up early like me.
Did I come in?
You did, mate. You did. Yeah. Shall I find the message?
I don't know what I said.
Let me see what it said. It was an Instagram DM.
Oh, I DM'd you.
Let's hope it's repeatable because you replied to a story I posted.
Oh, yes, I did.
Where are
I
you?
did. You're quite right. I was very busy last week.
You went, genuinely, that is not funny.
No.
That was your... Genuinely, that is not funny.
No.
But...
You have a nice time?
I had a great time.
Really?
I honestly, mate... Have you ever experienced an old Lambo?
Yes, mate.
What have you been in?
When we went to Australia. When I drove that
Mate, that was a Murcielago.
That's not old.
No.
It's 20 years old.
Pre-Audi. Have you experienced any pre-Audi Lamborghinis? Diablo, or at least early Diablos, Countach, Miura, Espada.
I've sat in a Countach. I've never driven one.
Never.
No.
You would be miserable driving a Countach.
Yeah, I mean, I was miserable driving that Murcielago.
You were, and that compared to a Countach is
the Rolls
night and
Royce.
day. I mean, genuinely. I love a Countach, but boy, is it one of the worst cars I've ever driven.
Okay.
That is one of, when people often ask, like, what's the worst car? Like, what car has too much? Countach.
Yeah, fair.
It makes you feel insanely special. And looking at it, it's so cool. It represents so much. Driving it, just a disaster.
Well, it was literally a car I had on my wall when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Like, genuinely, I had it on my wall.
I think we can both agree if we had the unlimited budget, we would have one in our collections as a thing. No?
No.
I'm talking unlimited money.
I mean, if you'd probably asked me that 5 years ago, I probably would have said yes. But I think if I had unlimited money now, I wouldn't buy any cars.
I don't know why I do this podcast with you, honestly. I think 2025, I'm going to find someone who likes cars to do this car podcast with.
And I'm going to find another co-host. And I'm going to find someone that's way better than hosting than you.
To do what? What are you going to talk about on your podcast?
Don't worry about that, mate.
Not cars, obviously, because you don't like them.
No, we'll just rattle on. We'll find an audience that likes two people moaning. There's loads of podcasts like that.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's probably actually quite easy to do.
Yeah.
Well... Okay, fine. You've disappointed me slightly. I think the Countach, but it is a pile of crap.
No, I would buy loads of cars, mate, obviously, but the Countach would not be on my list.
Interesting.
No chance.
Diablo, surely that was the Lambo of your era growing up. That would have been the car on the streets.
No, it was a Countach, 80s.
How old are you, mate?
43, mate.
Bloody hell.
Yes, that was the poster car.
It was the Countach.
Yeah. But, mate, I won't go back any further than an Enzo. Enzo's like, that's the first car I go and buy.
Yeah.
And then everything else would be
pre-2004.
Pretty much, mate. Yeah, I'm not interested.
Writing it off.
Yeah, I'm not interested.
Well, I think you'd be pleasantly surprised by a Diablo.
All right.
Genuinely. It is much more approachable than you might think.
Get me in one.
Yeah, well, I drove a standard Diablo SV via Kahuna, I think about 18 months ago, and I couldn't believe how smooth and comfortable and accessible it was.
Compared to what, your 360?
Almost.
Right.
But of that era, it felt, the car I drove with Kahuna, I think was a 98 or something. So, a good few years prior to my 360 at the time, and a Lambo, big hunking V12. I just didn't expect it to be buttery smooth. I just thought it was going to be a bit of a pig. But yeah, it really surprised me. So when I signed up to do this sort of delivery drive for the SVR, which is a race car, I was
with number plates.
With number plates, road legalized race car. I thought, well, how bad can it be? Because, the standard SV is so nice.
Yeah.
They kind of ruined it that much. And they didn't, to be fair.
Was it all right?
It was fine. Like, I actually think way easier to drive than people would expect.
And what about all the water coming in in the window?
Yeah.
Is that all right? Or?
That was fine. I got a little bit wet. I mean, the weather was atrocious, but welcome to 2024. Nothing I could do about that.
No.
It had the plexiglass race windows.
Yeah.
And they have vents, obviously sort of lower front by the side mirrors to aid with cooling the driver. And they don't really do up. So when it's wet, a bit of water comes in.
What, a bit? Like a lake it looked like.
Quite a lot, yeah. We all got, I got very, very wet, but
you had a nice time.
it was super cool, dude.
On
it
your
was
own?
super cool, all by myself.
Right.
Long old drive, 50
Like your
and a
own
half
company,
hours.
didn't you?
I do like my. I'm very happy on a long road trip.
Yeah, I know you
Very
are, yeah.
happy.
Yeah.
But it was just such a cool experience, such a unique experience. But as I say, I think Instagram thought I was insane, and actually even the YouTube comments are like, "This is madness." But it really isn't as sketchy as you would think.
Okay.
It's way more. Yeah, it's just a heavy clutch, heavy clutch, heavy pedals in general.
Did your video portray that?
I tried to portray that.
Okay.
I mean, I tried to showcase people like, you're mad driving this in the rain. I'm like, well, I've driven scarier things in the rain.
Yeah, exactly.
For sure.
Literally,
Like,
yeah.
actually, it was fine.
More modern cars that are way more scary
Yeah.
with loads more power.
Genuinely. And this had brand new standard P0s on it. And yeah, I was rocking and rolling. I honestly really enjoyed it. It has completely died a death on YouTube because it's kind of one of those weird niche modern classics. It's just a bit too...
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, it's not a flaming Revuelto with a gin tonic exhaust. But incredible experience. But there's more to come from that trip because post the Diablo SVR, I flew down to Italy.
I didn't know that.
You don't know any of this.
Right.
So I went to visit a company called Officine Fioravanti.
Who are they?
It's a new resto mod company.
Oh.
But no, you say, I should have thought the same thing. I was like, another resto mod company. I mean, every
What are they
week.
making?
Well, various different things, but their main focus is on a new Testarossa. So they're going to...
The Ferrari.
Yeah, they're completely gutting and restarting on a Testarossa.
Right.
But alongside that, they've got a sort of side hustle, which is kind of, I think they called it like the technical evolution line. It's something amazing in Italian, like evoluzione tecnicale, which is like small little improvements to classics, not complete reworkings.
Any classic.
Any classic.
Right.
And so here's a good example. 512 BB Ferrari, left factory, carburetors.
Yeah.
Bit of a disaster, carburetors.
Terrible.
Hard to figure out.
Yeah.
So they re-engineered the block and have made it fuel injected, but fuel injected essentially so within the carburetor bodies. So if you open the engine bay, it doesn't look any different.
Right. But it'll drive different.
It's fuel injected.
So it's not a BB anymore. It's a completely different car.
It's not at all.
Okay.
All it has done is allowed more reliability, more usability,
And more efficient.
slightly better performance.
More efficient.
Yeah, I guess
Yeah.
more efficient. But it's actually genius. It's a genius way of doing it. Now, of course, you can be a complete nerd and say, oh, but a BB has to have carburetors. That's the only way to experience a BB. But,
Well, you said it's still got them.
well, yeah, but they're not doing anything.
That's fine.
So it's something like that, I think, is genius because basically their whole premise is use modern technology to improve the reliability, safety, and drivability of classic cars. Do not rip them apart and put them back together again so you don't even know what they were originally.
Right.
You know what I mean? From all visuals, that 512BB was completely stock and standard.
Right.
And really, unless you pulled the engine apart, you wouldn't know anything else.
Okay. So they haven't taken anything away from it.
Absolutely not.
Because that's the biggest problem I have with all these retro
Agreed.
things. Because
Agreed.
then, like we said the other week, if you go back and watch, they're not that car anymore. There's something completely different.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's why I initially liked that premise because I was like, I'm a bit bored, like every week another resto mod company. I literally get an email from a resto mod company every 2 days. Hey, would you like to come with mate? It is endless.
Right.
And especially with the Porsches, I'm just like, no,
Yeah.
I'm done. Like you're all doing the same thing.
Yeah.
But the main reason I went to visit them was not for the Testarossa or the 512. It was to drive an Alfa Romeo 8C that they have manually converted.
Oh, wow.
So at the moment, I think the world's only manual 8C.
Right.
I think DK Engineering are attempting to do one at the moment as well. Maybe I've spoken out of turn there, but I think they're having a go. And a few others I know are thinking about it. But But as far as I'm aware, they're the first that have put a manual gearbox in an Alpha 8C.
Okay.
They've done a few other changes as well. They're calling it the 8CM. They've put the carbon ceramic brakes on from the Spider. They've changed to Olin suspension. They've done new geometry, new seats, all these kind of things to kind of try and improve the car. So I've got a video on that coming. I'm not going to say too much more about how that experience was. But in general, if we're going to see more rest of more companies, I think Officine Fioravante, who need to work on their name a little bit, that's the route to go, I think. It's just these small changes which keep, theoretically, the essence of the car.
Yeah, don't spoil what's already there because they're piles of poo for a reason. As in, leave them like that, basically.
Yeah, I think,
that's the character.
The Testarossa project they're doing will be interesting. From the outside, they're saying, 99%, you'll look at it and you'll see a Testarossa. It's only when you start to look close that you go, hold on a sec, that's a bit different, that's a bit different, that's a bit different.
Okay.
But under the skin, it'll be completely new. I'm sort of with you. I'm still to and fro of Testarossa is another one of those very bad cars, but it's somehow charming because it's bad.
Yeah. I think from my point of view as well, because I like more modern stuff, it's the only thing I really like from really old cars. That they're charming because they're, we don't live in bloody 1982 anymore, 1975. We live in 2024. So let's keep that stuff there where it was and let's enjoy what we've got here.
Yeah, you're probably right.
I am right.
Well, talking of new cars, I rented a car to get to and from Officine Fioravante, and I picked up a Cupra Formentor.
Yeah, I like them.
Mate, what a sensational little car.
Is it a hybrid thing or?
No, just I didn't even know. I didn't know what trim level it was. It obviously wasn't that fancy. It had manual seats, no pan roof or anything
just
like that.
Just a 1.5 TFSI thing or something.
Yeah. V1 or VS1 or VS2. Mate, it was superb.
Yeah.
Lovely car.
Yeah.
Super buttery smooth to drive. Loads of tech and equipment, Apple CarPlay and all that lot. Looked pretty good.
Yeah.
I must have done 500 kilometers in the car over the weekend or something like that. It was honestly a really, really nice bit of kit.
Yeah.
I think, we did a lot with Cupra when that Formentor launched, and especially around their Larry one. Is it the VS3 or something like that?
Yeah, don't they do that? They put the RS3 engine in. Don't they put the 5-cylinder in?
I don't know if it's that Larry. Is it not the GTI engine?
Okay. I'm sure I've heard one with a 5-cylinder engine in it. We'll need to check.
There's definitely trim levels, which is the big Larry one.
Yeah, there's the V1, the V2, V3. There's plenty of models, but I'm sure there's a Larry one, like a proper Larry one now.
Let's go here. Cupra Formentor search price high. That's the top level car, 52 grand. The 2-litre TSI VS3 DSG gearbox.
Oh, fine.
ABT. With 370 PS.
I've heard one of them with a 5. What? It sounded like a RS3 engine, like a 5-cylinder engine. Maybe I misheard it. I don't know.
Yeah, there's got one that gets offered with a Krapovich exhaust. Maybe that's what you were hearing. Yeah, but
great car though, mate.
But that's the thing. Great car.
Yeah.
Forget the Larry one. This is what I think I had: the Formentor 1.5 TSA V2.
Yeah,
it was really lovely. And there's literally an ad right here. 3 grand down, 268 quid a month on a lease. But it was, mate, I was really pleasantly surprised. It'd been a while since I've spent some time in one. At night, it has this little light along the dashboard. Yeah. Lovely bit. I had initially tried to rent a Fiat 500X.
Oh, yeah.
And I was very disappointed initially when they handed over the Cupra key. Because I'm in Italy. Hello.
Pleasantly surprised.
I really liked it. I really liked it. Really, really smooth and worth keeping an eye on.
Yeah.
But as I was driving it, I constantly got distracted
by
Alfa Romeo Tonale.
Oh, the little SUV thing,
mate. So
didn't we drive one of them?
Nope. We went and drove a Maserati.
That's right.
This is an X1 rival.
Right.
And it's the first electrified Alfa Romeo.
Oh, it's an EV?
They've got they've got a mild hybrid version.
Yeah.
And then a plug-in hybrid version.
Right.
Small little, crossover / SUV. super good looking.
Yeah.
Like just
it is
kept
a
catching
pretty
my
car.
eye. It's a really pretty car. Everywhere I go, especially from the front end.
A lot of them in Italy.
Oh my God, tons of them in Italy.
Okay.
So I kept looking around being like, oh, what's that? Oh, that's good looking. Oh, it's approaching me, blah, blah, blah. So quickly jumped online being like, I don't really know much about the Tonale. Like it's kind of gone over my head. Turns out a lot of the internet loves the Tonale.
Yeah, okay.
To be fair, the video reviews and the written reviews are a little different. All the video reviews are really like positive, like extremely positive over the Tonale. Some of the written reviews are a little bit more like hardcore, but the plastics are a bit cheap. Bore off.
Yeah.
Get over yourself. But largely, people seem to really like that car.
Okay. You going to buy one?
Well.
Oh, no.
Calm down. But do you... It's not on your radar either, right? Until I just brought it up now.
No, I knew it existed, but...
Sure.
Yeah. It's not... I mean, we'll start getting them in 2 or 3 years. They'll get circulated around and we'll get offered them, but I don't know really a great deal about them.
How much do you think the Larry one is?
40 grand.
52.
Wow.
Was the most expensive one I found online. 52 grand. And I immediately went, ooh.
Yeah, that's quite a lot of money, yeah.
That's for the Larry plug-in hybrid, 4-wheel drive. Apparently it's a very clever system. So this is the other thing which they've been talking about, because obviously now Alfa Romeo under Stellantis, they've benefited from all that sort of, partnership.
Yep.
And I think it does up to 40 miles like that EV range. The mild hybrid apparently is very clever. It does like to drive purely on battery, even though there is no official E mode or battery range. They just said it's a very, very clever system, very clever setup. And they all pitched it against the X1 and the Q3, I guess. And they were like, this is genuinely a contender now. Like this is actually a car that could be considered.
Should be 52 grand because that's how much they are.
Well, that is the big Larry one. That is the big, and I thought, well, hold on a second, that feels a bit punchy, doesn't it?
But that's how much an X135 is.
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
For similar money.
But do you not think, it's the problem Maserati been having, right? Do the Italians just automatically assume that they're a premium product?
Well, they can assume what they want, but it's all about, obviously it's all about marketing, and it's also about what comes first into people's heads when they're buying a car. So the Germans have situated themselves in the market now that when the normal general public buy a car, that a German car is at the top of this, or a Japanese car, but predominantly a German car. Then you go to the German mark. So you go BMW, Audi, Mercedes. They're the first 3 cars you think of. Then you might think of something Japanese, Lexus or a Nissan, or not a Nissan actually, because that's a step down. Lexus, or, maybe something Toyota, like a RAV4 or something. Not quite the quality, but still a good car. Expensive.
Genesis.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. And then you'd probably go Alpha before Genesis.
Okay,
You'd probably be Alpha but that would be the next. So you're 4 or 5 cars in before you think, oh, Alpha or Maserati.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because the Germans have marketed themselves over the last 30 or 40 years to be at the top of everyone's brain.
Yeah, Volkswagen.
Another good one.
Ford are having a strong time. Volvo, of course.
They're all in front.
That's the problem. And I think the issue is then you get to the Italians and you think, as I did, I thought, Tonale, that's a great little car.
Yeah.
Hoping that I was going to log on and find that you could grab it and it was going to be 35 grand plus a few options. What a great thing. And don't get me wrong, there are those cars at that list. But when I logged on and just went, right, Larry first, at 52, I'm sort of like, well, hold on a sec. Let's not get carried away.
Yeah.
And then you see on the used market that actually they just plummet really quickly. For example, somebody's been sharing, there's a Maserati Gran Turismo that's been doing the rounds on Twitter, because it's been advertised since I think December and it's lost 60 odd grand off its price. But
it's not uncommon, but yeah.
If you are surprised by that, then you have no grasp of what the car world is like.
It's
if you think
normal.
a 190 grand Maserati Gran Turismo is not going to absolutely lose a ton of money.
Yeah. Always has done.
Yeah,
literally always has done.
And if not worse now, because it's got a dodgy engine in it.
Yeah.
Maserati brands a bit all over the place.
Yeah.
Those cars have sat in the forecourt forever. So I couldn't believe people were so surprised. It literally did the rounds this week. People going nuts, being like, oh my God, have you seen this? This is outrageous. But is it? No.
It's normal. Yeah. I think the only brand, when it comes to awareness, the only brand that can fight the Germans is Land Rover. I think that's the only brand. When you're thinking of a especially an SUV car, which is most of the market nowadays. I think that's the only brand that pops in. Maybe Porsche with their SUVs, but they're a bit more expensive. But Land Rover with the Evoque and the Discovery Sport and the Discoveries, I think they'd pop into your mind as well.
They can pull the attention.
Yes, yeah. So especially in this country for sure. So they'd be way down the list, mate.
Yeah,
the Italian stuff. I mean, you got to not want a lot of cars.
Well, I think
before you get to one of them,
you've got to want an Italian car.
Yes,
realistically, you've got to, which is me.
Yeah, you've got to be a special kind of person.
Yeah.
Really stupid. Well, I've had some Italian cars, quite a lot of them.
Yeah. There's something that's just got to appeal to you about the Italian side of it. But now that they are part of Stellantis, now that they're offering actually what's supposed to be pretty good products, maybe they're going to start climbing into people's periphery a bit more. Maybe it's going to be a more worthwhile option. And actually, let's bring in this week's
We're in.
Finding the best cars on the internet so you don't have to.
Because if you go online, despite my claims of 50 odd grand, let's get my list up here. Go right down to the bottom of the market and look straight away. Here, what looks like to be an X demo, 13 or 14,000 miles, but 28 grand for a Veloce spec, which is the one that you want.
Yeah.
Suddenly that now makes a lot of sense. Apparently, they didn't produce the pan roof for a long time. There was a bit of a delay on the pan roof. But I think if you're looking at one of these, the mild hybrid Veloces at sub 30 grand, I do think suddenly then you're going, that's a great car.
But that's a 20i X1, and that necessarily wouldn't have a pan roof either.
No, fair. Spec dependent. Yeah, you're looking at, say, X1 20i, or you're looking at a GLA something.
GLA, maybe an Evoque.
Yeah, exactly.
That sort of thing. Yeah,
but I think, it suddenly makes it more attractive, I think, at that price point. When you're looking at the Larry ones, if we could just flip it on its head for 2 seconds and go up to the high price point for like a brand new car, here you go, 48, 48. That for me is just too much at that point. You're going to really struggle to pull someone across or away from the germs, as you said, no matter how nice or good that little car is.
Yeah, I think, from my experience, you literally buy that because you don't want any of the German cars. Not because you think, it's the same money or it's a bit cheap, it's a bit you literally buy that because you don't want to be the norm.
Yeah.
You don't buy it because it's better, because it won't be better. Like,
it could be as good. It won't be better, but it could be as good.
Not in my opinion, it won't be.
The video reviews said it was.
Yeah, but I don't take notice of them, mate, because there's so many other parameters that I always put in before I get to that point of, it is as good, not just driving it for an hour and writing or reading about it. I'm not gonna go into it, mate, because no, it's not. No, I'm not going into it, mate. There's so many different parameters that I look for in a car, and as far as I'm concerned, bearing in mind I'm always right, or normally always right, that car will not be as good as the German rivals. It's the end.
Move on? Or? Can't be asked to have the argument, if I'm honest. Too long.
Not in the mood today.
Too long in the tooth at this point. I mean, it's just outrageous.
Because 2 years ago you'd bite at that. We'd have a 10-minute argument.
The thing, I understand what you're putting in. 2-3 years down the line. What's the reliability? What are the maintenance costs?
Everything.
What's the resale value? What's the ease of use? How many owners? All of these different things, which I get. Warranty packages, quality of build,
everything.
How many rattles has it got over that period of time? And we just simply don't know at this stage. And you're right. Anyone reviewing the car, whether it's for a day, a week, even 6 months, it is hard to tell.
Absolutely.
What that actual experience is like. But I think what I always find interesting, which you have to bear in mind, is everything is comparative. If they've driven an X1, and I'm talking about myself here, if you've driven an X1 for a day, and then you've driven a Tonale for a day, you can at least compare what they were like for a day. On right roads. At that moment
in time.
Exactly,
Absolutely,
at that moment in time, on those roads, in that weather condition, okay, here's how these cars appeal. Of course, you see it completely differently 2 or 3 years down the line and can recommend to your clients and customers and give that feedback of, here's what I see further down the line. I get that.
Yeah.
But I also think you're just an aggressive dickhead. So I'm just finding it hard to just bite my tongue and move on. What have you spotted this week? You've asked me to bring up 718 Spider RSs. Talk to me. Why are these in stock?
Because all the fuss of them, mate, when they come out last year, whenever they come out, about them being, I mean, they were 100 over. They're now like not list.
Let's see what the cheapest car on the market is. I mean, there are some nice examples here.
140 something.
No.
Yes, mate.
For a Spider RS?
Yes, mate.
Are they cheaper than GT4 RSs?
Not quite.
What's the cheapest? Okay, this is going to be a good comparison, isn't it? So, there's an RS Spider. God, there are a lot of them online as well. My God.
Cheapest car is 144 with 200 miles on it.
Wow.
And it has ceramics. No Visac, but it has ceramics. So that'll probably still be around listish. Maybe a little bit above, but...
And let's see, for GT4 RS, what's our cheapest 4RS?
Well, they're 130 or something, them.
Really?
Yeah.
They have
GT4
all
RS.
plummeted, haven't they?
Yeah.
There they go.
Oh,
Cheapest
car
car,
this, 129,890. Oof.
on the dot.
On
And that is
the
Visac
dot.
pack.
It's a Visac car. No ceramics, though. But even whatever.
How are you feeling right now if you paid $250 for that car?
Oh, yeah. I don't think many people did, but someone did.
Someone did.
Yeah, someone did. Someone with too much money. But it's always the way, mate. Like, it never lasts that long. You know, like GT3 RSs now, the 992s are 240.
The thing is, like, as you've been talking about for a while, and as we've spoken many times on this podcast, you know, the market is back to what it was 5-6 years ago.
And there's more cars.
There's more cars,
Yeah.
and cars depreciate.
No one's got no money.
No, you know, this kind of mad game of, you know, buying for overs, and I'm going to get a really early slot because I'll at least be able to make 60 or 70 grand if I want to. Like, it's insane. It's gone.
Finished.
It's dead. And because the thing is, even if you get an early slot, you think, well, I'll stick it up for 100 grand over. I'll flip it. People are wisening up to the fact that if they wait a year, the car comes right back down.
Not just that, mate. Is that them people that were buying supercars and sports cars at 3.9 and 4.9% APR? That's all gone. Now, but the manufacturers are still churning the cars.
Yeah.
They're all at it. Lamborghini, Porsche, Ferrari, McLaren, Aston Martin. They're all at it. Still keep producing all these new cars. There's no punters for them because they're not going to borrow money at 9 or 10%. Because it's expensive.
Yeah.
So what they do is obviously we know they have a gun to their head. The dealers have a gun to the punter's head and say, right, you've got to buy this, till you might be able to have one of these. We know the story. We all know the story. And then they don't want the cars. They go on the market on SOR, half of them are on SOR, and they just sit there and they just keep losing money until one day someone buys them. It's like literally a race to the bottom.
Yeah, of course. And it is wild to see, but it's nothing new, right? In your world, this is the norm.
It's been happening forever.
But I think the world became car dealing experts during COVID.
Yeah, clueless, mate.
Everyone, you know, looked at, well, this is going up, this is going up, that, you know, investments, you know, blah, blah, blah. And people sort of thought they'd figured it out and hacked the system and, you know, become flippers when actually now they're all getting burnt or people are sort of shocked. Can you believe it? But actually, you're right, you know, this is fairly normal for a GT4 RS with nearly 9,000 miles to be below list.
It's not that far under list.
I mean, you know, it's still great actually in the
Yes.
grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
You've done well. If you're a single owner, you've done well there. You've got 9,000 miles, you get your money back. Off you go.
Not quite, but because you've got
Almost.
the dealer margin, but you've lost 20 grand.
Yeah.
Well, that's fine.
Happy days.
Yeah.
Happy motoring. Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see. I am not allowed to say much.
Really?
But tomorrow I'm going to Germany to see the latest addition to the Porsche GT family.
Right.
I think that's all I'm officially allowed to say.
All right.
We'll talk about it more in next week's episode.
Right.
And there'll be a main channel video as well. But I've signed so much paperwork. I'm so scared. I already feel nervous just talking about Porsches.
What, in case I say something?
No, just, I don't know what. It's freaking me out. Let's move on. Anyway, that will probably be the end to this week's lovely episode or session of Stock Watch. If you want to go and buy an Alfa Romeo Tonale, 30 grand, or a GT4 RS, Spider RS.
For 100 grand more.
We like to cater to all parts of the market here. We're actually recording next week's episode in advance. So if the Ferrari does launch,
We're sorry.
we're sorry. We'll talk about it when we're back. But yeah, very, very cool. Anyway, reminder to you all, Sunday, the 10th of November, we will be Valencia, Spain for our last hurrah of 2024. We'd love for you to get there. As many international viewers and listeners as possible. You haven't got to be Spanish. Do the road trip. We'll be road tripping. We're going to be there in hopefully some interesting cars. Let's wait and see. Just a great chance to hang out and chat and to celebrate this epic year. Thank you again for all of your support for the year up to this point. Head over to seeingthroughglass.online. Go to the live event section to get yourself a ticket now. One thing we didn't touch on, sorry, just before we wrap it up, did you see that Alpine A110 thing?
Oh, mate. I thought it was a joke.
That's the car that Esteban Ocon told me about. Remember we sort of teased it?
I remember you said,
Yeah.
£275,000.
Yeah, but there's a man in France who goes, I must have 3. You know, like...
Well, he's buying the only 3 then.
Yeah, because it's such French pride, that car. I don't think we understand it, but there'll be some... Because in France, they're everywhere. You drive through France, you see Alpine A110s everywhere. And some lunatic's going to be like, this is... I must have one.
No.
Insane, right?
What does it compete with? GT4 RS? It's double the money.
Does it even, like... I mean, yeah, I guess they
in
think
terms of performance.
I guess.
That's what it'll be. Yeah.
Can you imagine paying that much money for that?
Someone's going to. More than
Of course,
one.
they're probably all sold out.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, next week's episode is pre-recorded, but a very good fun one, so enjoy that. Then we're back from some trips and some travels, and we'll be back with hopefully more information on the LaFerrari replacement. I think it'll be out by then. I don't know for sure. I've heard nothing. Legally, oh, God, I've said too much. Okay. Adios, amigos. Bye-bye.
See ya.